support for the Untold Radio Network family of shows and join in on the conversation by using super stickers and super chats on YouTube. Got a question you want answered? Ask it live via a super chat and get real-time responses from our show's knowledgeable hosts and guests. Help keep the Untold Radio Network shows running strong. We need your support. Send your super chats and stickers now.
Hi there, and welcome to episode 103 of Down South Anomalies for the profound and extraordinary Untold Radio Network. My name's Jaymez.
And I'm Aspasia.
And this is a hot night in the western suburbs out in Jordan Springs, just outside of Penrith, on the crest of the Blue Mountains. You can see them vaguely in the distance oscillating and hear the Yowies screaming.
Are they screaming at us?
I think they're trying to merge with us in cohabitation, Aspasia. Anyway, we're on Durek. I'll eventually pronounce it.
We are broadcasting from Durek land, and we want to acknowledge the
elders past,
present, and emerging.
Thank you, Aspasia.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. Well, tonight, worldwide UFO flap at the point of inversion. You don't have it. You've just got point inversion there. How did that occur?
Oh, okay. I'll change. No, it's not up yet.
Yeah.
They can't see that.
Gee whiz, I told you all morning, point of
I've got
inversion.
that in all the other.
We're a married couple. 33 years we've been together, and boy, it's exhausting at times. It really is.
Aren't you just?
Because basically, both of us come together to make one reasonable human being.
Yeah,
would you agree with that?
We balance each other.
I want to call this the end of authenticity, the dead internet, no theory. Because what we're going to do is we're going to slam these two together in media jamming style. And it's the notion of the dead internet theory, which is a fascinating theory.
Is it a theory or?
Well, a lot of people that look at it as a theory because there are many strands to this theory. You can have many rabbit holes to descend into. But it's becoming fact very quickly. But the worldwide UFO / they're calling it drones flap is unbelievable. Yeah. And it is not just New Jersey, and it's not because they're making sure that the new president-elect who comes into office at the beginning of next year is heavily secured after those attempts on his life.
Yeah, but it's in Russia, it's in China, it's in Australia.
It's in Britain. It really kicked off in Britain.
In Europe. It's all over the place.
And it's doing the most extraordinary thing. They're doing literally pictograms in the sky.
But of course...
And a lot of them are descending into the Atlantic Ocean. I mean, what are they doing?
They're landing on airplane strips, something.
Yeah, they're affecting a lot of air traffic at the moment.
But the authorities are coming out and they're saying that they're drones. So there's an overabundance.
But what amazes me is only recently they were shooting down in the US.
Well,
what were supposedly Chinese spies.
Mylar balloons.
Well, maybe party balloons by very low-funded ballooning obsessionalists, OCDists, who knows? I mean, those people are motivated with no money, but they're balloons. You don't need to waste over $250,000 US to shoot down a balloon, but this time they're not touching them. And you've got dozens of them flying over restricted military sites, armament sites.
Actually not allowed. It's like you're not allowed to fly over certain areas. You know what I mean? You've got to have licenses. You've got to know what you're doing. These
things are descending. They're moving in fast speeds. They're going stop and backwards and forwards, but the synchronicity is astounding. Yeah. You need to look at the extraordinary South American man that does That Is Impossible.
Yes.
Jaymez. I think it's Jamez. But in our show notes, you will find a link to his extraordinary piece that culminates so much footage that it's not worth us showing you any of this footage. We'll give you a little bit of it. Go to it yourself. It is a plethora. This is the biggest flap
ever.
And who
recorded?
Knows? I mean, allegedly recorded by the population. The population's open to it. And that's why these things But the footage is everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, just like Mexico City in the 90s, the Masters of the Stars.
Yes. Everyone's now got, you've given everybody this technology of having this camera phone on them 24/7 because they're holding on to them.
Jaymez, Jaymez.
Jaymez, yep.
Jaymez.
Anyway, so people have got cameras and the ability to take photos and record moving footage now, and more of that's going to be coming out, and that's what's happening now.
And people are afraid because there's so few decent explanations. There's a lot of explanations for it, and none of them seem to fit the holding pattern. Wow. Because when you're actually seeing these objects close up, you buzz towards them, they disappear in midair and go off radar, then they reappear. Yeah. They move at hypersonic speeds beyond what any human being in a canopy would be possible.
Well, maybe it's not up to us.
The G-force.
Maybe it's not up to us, humanity or the governments of the world to give us disclosure. They're doing it themselves. So every time there's a sighting and a bunch of people see it, then, that's been disclosed, hasn't it? Well, to those people anyway, until every person on the planet has had a sighting and they've all flipped over and gone, okay, we now believe it because we've seen it.
But we are going to merge this phenomenon in 2017 coming out with the moment that, especially there was a study done for YouTube where the engineers freaked out and said we're reaching a point of inversion. And that study showed that over 51% of the material on the internet is not being generated by human beings. It's being generated by algorithms and bots.
Not nanobots, just bots. Yes, robots. Yeah.
Bots flying in. So a lot of your subscriptions, a lot of your thumbs up, all that stuff. And inversion is the tipping point where there becomes so much false, dare I use the word fake, but false artificially generated material that the actual security systems they have flip over and believe that the false fake material is the stuff that's getting hits. Yeah. But a lot of AI, open AI things that are artificially generated by ChatGPT or what other series of open AI there is out there are now getting millions of hits. Right. So we'll have a little look at Crustacean Christ that went through the roof recently.
They look amazing.
But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about our own history for a bit because things are getting personal. We're at episode 103 and people are going, how?
I think people know who we are.
Why do we listen to these people? How are they qualified? Well, we're just outsiders.
How many people are qualified for the net now? Anybody can do anything.
Well, qualified when it comes to anomalous research.
Oh, well, we've been doing anomalous research for a long time. We haven't just stepped into it, gone, oh, look at this. Let's have let's do let's talk about this stuff. We've been reading and interviewing and researching this stuff for like over 30 years.
Initially, I trained as a nurse, but it was also during the year of punk. It was the mid-70s.
A punk nurse you were. And
I think, the mere fact that we're outsiders made it easier for us to look into the fringes of reason, the anomalous world, the 40 and
Show me the punk nurse.
This was a shocker for people who actually get no eyebrows.
That must have been your Bowie phase.
Bowie, I think it's more my cracked a lad insane phase.
A little bit, yeah.
And here we are when we first sort of got together. This is within the first week, isn't it?
I don't know, first couple of weeks. But I think it was about maybe. Yeah, it was really, really.
Sorry about the people listening on audio. We're going through some personal photos here because we want to brand it. If you're interested, you give the thumbs up. That means you're with this crazy, loving couple who's been decades together and formed one reasonable human being.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here we are in front of our prize collection that had to be broken up recently.
Yeah, well, it wasn't broken up. It's just scattered a little bit at the moment over two different places. People kindly and generously looking after it for us until we
some extraordinary people
decide what to do with it.
One of them is Steve here, which was a guitarist in our band.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've dealt with so much in our life together creatively. It's amazing just what a powerhouse of creativity you are, Aspa.
Well,
You're astounding. But during the pandemic,
let's not bore the people, so can move pretty quickly.
Here's a little shot. Mel did this for us.
Oh, that was yeah.
And there's the police lines to stop people.
Well, that was
5 kilometres.
You're only allowed to travel 5 kilometres away from your home. So this was the police stopping people and making sure that they were no more than 5 kilometres away from your home.
So I thought this is a religious experience. I had a rabbi outfit just laying around a cassock.
That's not a rabbi outfit. That's a priest's garb. Okay. Where do you get these notions from?
I don't know.
Where are we now?
There we are in our archives just before we had to leave it. Yeah. Let's do a bit of name dropping. Here we are with the singer from Faith No More, Venomous, lots of other astounding bands. Oh, don't do that to me right now.
Phantomus.
All right, let's just go through to the film. You're getting stuck on the photos. Here we are moving part of our film library, which was heartbreaking.
It was.
Those stairs they wanted to remove on us.
Well, they're gone now. Those stairs have been removed from the old place.
Yeah. There's a good view.
That's a shot.
Look at the hexagons and circles in place.
They were the films from Kenya.
Yeah.
The Kenyan collection, as we called it.
Which were actually given them from a storage space, weren't we?
They were.
Yeah.
Yeah. That and then this was.
This is the first load stacked.
Yes.
The beautiful Matt's Bong shed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
there's some of the creative work we still do in our 60s, getting into our mid-late 60s.
Oh, yeah, that's the DJing, Death of the DJ. So
that's tomorrow night. Give them an idea of what that's like. Because it's a restaurant I do this in.
It's a burger joint.
Everyone tries to act like I'm not there. As you can see, I'm passionate and extremely involved.
And you're freaking the people out.
Well, the crowd. And here's someone we'll be working with in their 80s coming up in January.
I love it.
This is an undercover gig. So the
Australian tour.
She's a great synthesist, great songwriter.
Right.
She sort of dates around that era of Silver Apples.
Oh, that's Andy's doing the show.
Yeah, beautiful Andy Bird. So keep an eye out. That it's secret in Sydney. I think
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yes.
Right.
It's not. It's at
the People's Republic.
It's it's called the Red House now.
The Red House.
Red House was the secret location.
Yeah. All right, you can find that. What suburb's that in? It's a church.
That's in Earlwood. Yeah, that was an old disused, an old church that they.
I'm looking forward to the Space Lady.
It's going to be interesting.
It really will be interesting.
Okay, and the last one is, of course, Love and Anarchy, which is the documentary.
On our lives.
So there's a link to it.
I'm sorry, ruined you if you're searching for the key point of answer.
That's enough about us.
The UFO flap and the drone incursion.
Right. So where are we going now?
No, well, look, I was looking up some subjects for this week's one because we're hoping to get an interview that fell through. Hopefully, we'll have that for Christmas for people. A very exciting interview. I won't curse it by saying anything.
Don't say it.
I looked up a lot of things. I looked up laughter in animals, and I found out over 60 species.
Wow.
Of non-human life on this planet laugh.
Wow. And I thought it was, laughing was actually a predominantly human. I know, just do chimps laugh?
Of course they do. And especially orangutans.
Oh, really? Yeah, and
chimpanzees, gorillas.
They do too. Okay. But what other animals that you wouldn't
get it
think?
They do get it from joking, but they get it from tickling. They're very ticklish.
Oh, ticklish.
All that species.
How do they joke? What do they joke about?
You know,
about us?
Yeah, I think they do actually. Rats laugh.
Oh, well.
And rats really respond to tickling. Cats don't respond to tickling.
Right.
They don't really like it.
Do they? Dogs?
Dogs do.
Dogs tickling or laughing?
Yeah, tickling and laughing. Yeah, okay. Dolphins, donkeys.
Well, we won't even go with the dolphins.
It's more common than what you thought. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
John C. Lilly. We'll get to that story. He went too far with the dolphins.
Yeah, I think he and that was not consensual, I can tell you right now.
Now, laughter could be older than us, and you don't have...
What do you mean older than humanity?
Older than humanity.
Mm-hmm. If you put a number on the age of humanity, but anyway, let's not go there either.
Oh, you really throw me for a cheap end every time you do that.
Sorry, I can't help it.
And you don't need to sort of look at the IQ to laugh at something. It's not based around what we perceive intelligence to be.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's have a look at these moments. Do you remember these moments? Did you ever have one of these? The frozen moment from the late 70s.
I remember the frozen moments.
Yeah.
And
the milk bottle with the milk coming out of the glass.
Yes, that was
and then it started to get more exotic, like theirs ones.
Yeah.
I think it was around 19.
What's that? Oh, that's a drink spilt with ice cubes.
Yeah. It's like
and a straw.
Spilled.
Okay.
There's your milk going in your breakfast.
Yeah. Okay.
But I was listening to the, let me just check this, Aspasia, as you move through to the moving material.
Yeah.
I was listening to one of the episodes with Chris Reinhardt, Discovering Sasquatch, and they were talking about an expedition they were on with Doug. I want the moving material, darling.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I didn't even need to say that to you. We'd run through it initially.
Yeah, okay. Well,
all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So which one?
And
this one here?
Chris Reinhardt was talking about Doug. They were on an expedition searching for the Sasquatch.
Okay.
And they both had a moment independent of each other of this frozen.
Yeah.
Now, evidently, as we see in the Jewish community, they can surround some certain areas with fine wire in the air.
Right.
And a lot of people assume that exists.
Right.
But it's odd. And Doug and Chris, the OC, spoke about that. So, so have you heard of this before?
What's that? Frozen? Something that just... What is that?
It's a bird.
It is a bird, is it?
Yeah. Well, let's go to the Kira and go there.
Okay.
It looks like a blackbird, but it's not moving.
That's a dead bird, and it's just floating in the air. No strings, no nothing.
He's not the only one who saw it.
That's freaking weird, man.
Isn't it?
Yeah, like there's someone else taking a picture.
It's a mystery, leaving many people puzzled and questioning, what could it be?
This has to be like a wire. It can't. There's no way something that can just be floating in midair.
When people are really beginning to report this phenomenon, I've seen many cases of it in even 14 Times is documented. It's not this, though, is it?
No. This you can see because this is moving. This is a bird that gets onto a current.
Caught on the jet stream.
Yeah, on a current, but it still moves. Even though, see that?
Yeah.
It's like hovering there, and but it's not. It's still moving. That other one was actually really very still. There was no movement at all.
Well, people were saying it was dead. That's how still it was.
Well, if it was dead, it would have dropped out of the sky. But who knows? Who knows? Anyway.
So it really makes you wonder. So back in October, November, an object caught at Manchester. Anyway, let's have a look at what's happening with the drones. This is sort of recent news. I mean, I think Congress had an emergency meeting. They were thinking of bringing in some sort of curfews and stuff around what's happening in New Jersey.
Mysterious drone sightings now in 12 New Jersey counties, and it's still unclear where they're coming from. Meanwhile, Governor Phil Murphy responds for the first time in a X post saying, quote, "There is no known threat to the public at this time." Do other state Jersey officials agree? Well, here with reaction is New Jersey gubernatorial candidate and 101.5 Talk Radio host Bill Spadea. Bill, it's so great to have you on this morning. So no one has a better pulse on New Jersey than you and, Talk Radio. So what are your listeners saying to you, and what do you think about this?
Thanks, Rachel. We've got the largest audience in the state, and I have to say that I've got to give credit to my friend Mark Taylor, who is the mayor of Florham Park in Morris County, because back on the 16th, 17th, 18th of November, a few weeks ago, he called the show and he said, "Bill, there are drones over my house." And last night there was a Black Hawk helicopter that was sitting in front of them. He said, "I have no idea what's going on, but I've called the FAA. I'm calling the state police." And here we are weeks later, and it's increasing. They're everywhere. And, according to reports, and I literally have done my entire show in the last week and a half has been on this drone issue because callers from all over the state are calling in to say some of these drones are the size of cars. And what occurred to me that when the state police and the FBI are asking for our help, how do they not know what's happening? So a lot of people believe that state officials may, in fact, know a lot more than they're telling us.
Well, yeah, and by the way, I'm one of those people. I saw it outside of my house twice. My kids recorded it. They were freaking out. They are big, and they fly kind of low. And it's really disconcerting that our governor can't tell us what's going on, that, you know, and then they said, call the sheriff, and then the sheriff says, call the FBI, and then the FBI is saying, give us more information. And remember, Bill, we had a balloon that flew, a Chinese balloon that flew over our country, and not only did our government lie about it, but they did nothing about it. So do you think that these are foreign, that this is a foreign country? Is this Google, you know, with their drone package testing something? Mysterious drone.
Excuse me, the trouble is when you actually hear they're the size of cars,
that's not a drone.
The noise that would be making the engines to sustain flight.
Exactly.
And these things all seem to...
Are there drones that are that big?
Well, I'm sure there are. There's military drones that would be that big. But not
in the hands of the public.
And not in tens and dozens, flying in formation over suburban areas. No. I mean, even if you were releasing, a lot of people have said, oh, well, they hid the SR-71, they hid the stealth. Yeah. Come on, people. I mean, this is over suburban
that they did nothing about that Chinese balloon. It's like, no, they did. They shot it. They shot it out of the air. One down. Yeah, but they sent, you know,
they're doing nothing about these, apart from perplexing the population.
There's too many of them, aren't there?
There is so many of them. Look, let me state now.
Yeah.
Jaymez, is that how I pronounce it? The New Jersey drone situation just got crazier. You need to see that as a compilation of footage. Whether you take in the hypothesis that he is very fragile with, so it doesn't matter, he's not really stamping an answer on anything. It doesn't matter. Don't listen to that. Look at the footage.
Just look at it and
we have both witnessed objects in multiplicity dancing around each other, stopping and starting going backwards.
Yeah.
It's very similar to what I've seen before. It's similar to what I've seen in decades, but I've never seen it on this level.
But isn't it illegal to be, you know, you've got to have permits and all kinds of things to be flying drones around. And why would you be flying drones at night? For what reason?
They're flying drones into flight paths.
It's just...
I have listened to an extensive amount of...
I think they're just calling them drones because they don't want to call them UAPs or UFOs. Do you know what I mean?
I've listened to an extensive amount of air traffic control.
Yeah.
Communications, and they're profound. And there's some great channels on YouTube, so look them up. And they are basically maneuvering around these things. So they're already affecting flight path dangerously, 28,000 feet, that's all, but then dropping down. Yeah. So where did the noise in this signal, as what it appears to be, the most massive worldwide flap ever occur? Well, it all started in Britain, and they've had as many drone encounters over there.
Are they drones again? I'm saying to you, are they using the
okay, well, let me say UFOs.
Well, you know, unidentified flying objects. I mean, it's, you know, just because you say UFO or UAP, even UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena.
Yeah.
Okay.
Massive amounts in Britain. Tens of them again over military installations in America. It's not just New Jersey, it's Oregon, it's New York City, it's lots of other places. It's China.
Yeah.
It is Europe.
They'll kill you.
And they're occurring here in Australia, but not to the same extent.
Well, we've got a small...
Ross Coulthard, again, is who you need to go up and check this out. He's done experiment. Let's have a listen to what the Defense Department said a few days ago.
So certainly working very closely with the authorities there. We are taking it seriously. We're monitoring, taking appropriate measures. Again, I'm not going to get into the specific TTPs in terms of when and if we feel that we need to take something down. At this point, the assessment is that these do not pose any type of effect on our operations or safety of our personnel. So I don't have an answer. I'd have to refer you to USAFE, but I mean, it's not uncommon if we have, you know, small teams that go around the world that are specialists in various capabilities. So I don't have an answer to that question. But I mean, you've got RAF Mildenhall, RAF Lakenheath, RAF Feltwell, all those bases are in close proximity literally minutes away from each other. So, again, we'll continue to.
It's like Rendlesham Forest there. Yeah, I mean, it's not uncommon that we have teams that go around the world and do crash retrieval on anomalous metamaterial. That is not uncommon. What are they telling us? This is the most paradoxical game of double-sided thinking.
A mysterious blue spherical object has been spotted at Manchester Airport, triggering widespread speculation and intense public curiosity about its origin and nature. The sighting has captured significant attention across social media platforms and aviation circles. Eyewitness accounts describe a round blue object that was observed both on the ground and in the air, with multiple social media users documenting its unusual movements. One witness reported that the object appeared to take off quickly when a security vehicle approached, adding to the intrigue surrounding the incident. The All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, which investigates unidentified aerial phenomena, has not yet provided an official explanation for the sighting. This lack of immediate clarity has only heightened public interest and speculation about the object's true nature. Recent data reveals that the United Kingdom experienced nearly 400 unexplained aerial encounters throughout 2023, making this Manchester Airport incident part of a broader trend of mysterious sightings. The most recent previous incident occurred in Leicester, involving unexplained green lights that similarly captured public imagination. Government investigations typically approach such phenomena with careful scientific scrutiny. Experts from defense and aviation departments use advanced technologies, including full-motion video analysis, three-dimensional modeling, and
they'd be able to tell us if it was a drone or not. They're just not saying it.
These have been released to the public recently via NASA's press conference up there in the US, via Arrow, via ATIP, via Lou Alessandro. Let's have a look. We're talking about the metal spheres, what appear to be seamless, glistening spheres, but the trouble is they're as paradoxical as Sasquatch is, because at times they actually merge into other objects or fly in incredible synchronicity with each other and then form pictograms. They're forming pictograms in the sky before they submerge into the Atlantic Ocean.
Synchronized.
A mysterious blue sphere-shaped unidentified flying object nearly landed at Manchester Airport, prompting temporary flight suspensions and heightened security. The silent, glowing object, about 2 meters in diameter, hovered just a few inches above a runway, stunning airport staff and passengers. Eyewitnesses describe the sphere as otherworldly, with no visible propulsion. Experts are closely monitoring this unprecedented event, which has sparked global curiosity and online speculation.
Wow.
That's an amazing shot of it actually hovering off the ground.
That's definitely not a drone.
Yeah, and there's some really close-up digital photos. So search for them on the web. I've got to exercise a bit of caution here, which I usually don't anyway, because our numbers. And, let's get to numbers. Let's get to the notion of all at the same time around 2017, we started to see the release of this footage into the public domain and the profile of ufology changing semantically to UAP and being sold to the public on a mass scale like we've never seen before, the possibility of this occurring. And then footage started to drop out of nowhere. Now we have reached a point where it is out of control. And it's like we're being prepped for something, and I hesitate to even take that road, but how can you not feel that something is boiling up here?
Do you think that the governments of the countries are prepping us, or they are being forced to prepare us because the phenomena has stepped itself up, or what's the go?
Let's talk about the dead internet theory.
Did you just ignore me then?
No, I'm colliding it into that point of time, because you know what the notion is there?
What?
That the governments, and this is a really dark rabbit hole, and I doubt but the government's actually gaslighting the entire population of
they've always done
the
that.
world.
They've always done that. It's called lying to people.
And most of the internet is fake. Remember, about a decade ago, we used to see these great prompts on television. They'd always been there, but they had got so bad. I think with the advent and popularity of reality TV, that's not reality at all. And whereas the real reality TV they were talking about, that will never exist. But these prompts were like for news stories that never actuated.
Oh, yeah.
So all of a sudden,
coming
television
up soon,
journalism had turned into tabloid journalism of the worst degree.
It became infotainment.
Yeah.
Infotainment.
It had been leading there for a long, long time, but it had just flipped over completely.
Yeah.
And this is where the dead internet theory lies.
Right.
Whether you're consciously aware of it or not, and 9 times out of 10 you're not. It's like looking at an image that is artificially created by AI, and when you get down to the fingers and the cut, you can see
that there's something wrong.
There's something wrong. It's either being cut and pasted into another.
But eventually they'll be able to, the AI will become so good that you won't be able to tell what's AI and what's.
Well, I think that
humanly generated, do you think?
I mean, the original creators, the designers of AI, these engineers in Silicon Valley are saying we're not sure what's going on here. And I mean, originally came from mapping the consciousness. Remember that. It wasn't supposed to be AI.
No.
It came from a neurologist that was looking at the activity of the human brain. Maybe the internet is slipping out of the hands of human control and being taken over artificially.
By itself?
So
it's becoming autonomous.
I've started to go to posts in the last couple of years at the end of that incredible worldwide situation we had and started to notice that the voices were artificially created.
Yeah, they're robotic.
And then the imagery was artificially created. And then there are all these consistencies in the plagiarism of this pattern matching that become very apparent. And there is repetition. They start to repeat sentences in a different way semantically, but it's the same material being thrown back to you repetitiously to fill the time, to get the click, to get the subscription, because it's the monetization of this stuff.
When they do those pictures with the story, and it's like you go through like 100 pictures, and every second or third picture they're repeating what they said before, and it's like they could get it down the story, but they want you to stay on that site because there's the advertising. You see,
just prior to the release,
I don't go to those things. I can't be bothered.
Just prior to the declassification, the release of all this footage and this story becoming mainstream ufology becomes the UAP, probably because we don't want to actually tell the population that we've been deceiving them for so long. There was a security firm known as Imperva, and it stated that bot activity had increased to such a level, 51.8%. Now, this is 8 years ago. You know what level it would be at now.
Yeah.
Every third visit to any site on the internet is probably a malicious attack bot. AI is now writing a large percentage of codes, and that they're all afraid of this inversion. And the inversion could have already occurred.
I say turn it off at the PowerPoint.
So
just unplug the computer.
Fear this would cause the fraud detection system to flip, classifying fake traffic as real and vice versa. And this is a prospect that engineers called inversion. The flourishing business of fake this tube videos, Google are worried that they will actually drown in a sea in very close time of fake content.
Yeah, right. So what do they say that the internet is now generating its own content?
Yeah, AI.
Just for the sake of
AI.
Well,
for the sake of clicks and subscriptions. Again, it's greed
and
monetization.
Selling, and so they create a some sort of show or whatever, a program, and put it up so advertising can go there and they can take the money off it. But who's getting the money?
This leads us back to the road of...
I say just unplug it at the PowerPoint, just turn it off.
That's how my dad used to do it as an engineer. He had power leads tied to his legs.
Rip it out.
He was doing all these recordings by himself in 78. That's how he met my mother. My grandfather was a
Okay,
pilot.
we're going back there.
But we are going back to the personal story.
Yes, we are.
As the outsider artist, I mean, to shave your eyebrows off and dye your hair in the late 70s was problematic. Today, it means nothing.
Oh, look.
But back then,
Yeah,
my neighbours who had known me all my life would walk over the other side of the street when I was walking down. I was still the same person.
Of course.
I was just getting
But now you've got a different facade.
Yeah, a little stylish there. So I think, but so you've always been an outsider. You've been delegated to the person in the playground with no one friending them.
Yes.
You've been delegated to the dark corners in the back of the most obscure venues.
The weird kid.
So it doesn't matter for us about the clickbait. It might matter for Untold and Doug to keep the radio rolling.
Sure.
But for you and me personally, we've got no problem. You know, and sometimes when I've performed, the lowest of numbers have been the most exciting nights.
Well, it's been an intimate.
And we have performed at thousands and then tens. It's usually tens, but that's life.
Yes.
But nothing against the power, the incredible power of Untold Radio.
Hello, members. This is Chris. I have a cool news flash from the Untold Radio Network. Starting this May 2024, members of the Untold Radio Network will be receiving special after-hours show content notifications, plus a chance once a year to hang out on camera in a webinar setting with your favorite podcast personalities. And because we have 12 different shows, it means that each month you will get to meet different podcast hosts. This face-to-face meeting will allow you to discuss anything, ask questions, offer content suggestions, and get to know all of our hosts personally. Plus talk to them face-to-face through the magic of YouTube Live. Again, this is for members only. And don't worry, you will be notified well in advance of a simple sign-up reservation for that particular host or hosts. Plus, member-only after-hour shows will be available in our reserved members-only section on YouTube. Each podcast will be producing at least one after-hour show or more per year, and one webinar meet and greet per year. We sincerely thank you for being a loyal listener of your favorite Untold Radio Network shows and becoming a loyal member. Other perks include you getting top priority in chat, guest interactions, plus getting the answers to your great questions from our hosts and guests. There is even more perks to members, exclusive wallpapers, special discounts on books, merch, and more. So stay tuned for new announcements. This is Chris, signing off from the Untold Radio Network. We will be talking soon.
Yeah, we're very proud of our association with the Untold Radio Network. Now, let me just digress back to that British footage. Do you know that that footage came from, and here we're going to have a problem, came from a gentleman called Captain Bigelow. Yeah, doesn't make you feel good about it.
But it was it that Bigelow?
Fake or real?
Bigelow?
There wasn't that Bigelow, but wasn't another Bigelow, or are we hearing a pseudonym, or is someone changing their name?
AI generated?
There's the problem. But there is astounding footage out there, and you need to go and look at it. And there is a military helicopter pursuit of numerous of these drones.
Right.
And when you see like a double-bladed Chinook helicopter, you know they
Chasing
haven't
it
just
down.
wheeled that out for sightseeing.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you think that they're beginning to reveal themselves, as Preston said they were doing at drive-ins in our last episode? Do you think that we've reached the point? Is this reconnaissance? Is this surveillance? They're looking down, they're going, hey, the way that that planet is at the moment?
I think they're probably looking at our planet going, I think we need to send in another flood and just thin the herd out a little bit because we're too many people.
There's Congressman...
We're not that special. You're one of 8 billion. I'm sorry.
A Congressman Smith from New Jersey has actually stated publicly, I think this was yesterday, we're 2 days behind, we're in the future here in Australia, in terms of the US and Europe, has stated that it was a mothership from Iraq that was sending out drones. Now I've never heard of the mothership that releases like 20 drones. Have you heard of that? No. How big is that mothership? And how in the hell do you keep that in the air?
Are they car-sized drones?
Yeah, they're car-sized drones. So how do you actually release?
What do you call those Hercules?
And it was just sitting off the coast in the Atlantic Ocean. Are
these the same people that think that ETs are demons?
This is happening down in South America, Argentina as well, on a big scale.
It's everywhere.
There actually seem to be flying from that Atlantic area down to Argentina. Who knows? The Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. As I said, it's a worldwide flap.
Yeah.
And you can call it drones. But at this stage, they don't even know that they are drones. So they are UAPs. But to us,
UFOs.
it will always be Edward Ruppelt, and it'll be the unidentified flying object. I think it states the reality much better than the anomalous.
That's the whole point, isn't it? Unidentified.
Yeah.
Flying object.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, a great story appeared. You know how popular that Oppenheimer was in terms of. That was a feature, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. The Barbie and Oppenheimer came out at the same time.
I want people to look up this news story. I'm not going to play it all.
Barbie or Barbie Oppen or whatever. I don't know.
Maybe they should have melted those two together and been culture jamming.
Roland Heights man says he saw a UFO and has part of the spaceship to prove it.
KCAL News anchor Chris Holmstrom is here. And Chris, you spoke with him about this.
Yeah, it sounds like a wild story, but what's crazy about it is the federal government's actually investigating this case, which makes you wonder what's really going on. All right, so this man, Jose Padilla, he was 9 years old back in 1945. When he says he and his friend witnessed something they'd never forget.
He used to carry a suitcase with him, wear a fancy-looking hat.
87-year-old Jose Padilla of Roland Heights is recalling a brush with infamy he had as a boy.
I used to see Robert Oppenheimer.
That Robert Oppenheimer, and mastermind of the atomic bomb. Padilla grew up in San Antonio, New Mexico, some 13 miles from where the bomb was first tested in 1945. Jose recalls seeing the dapper physicist frequently near the Al Bar, a local gathering spot still operating today.
He had an office right behind the Elbow Bar.
That office, now a shack Jose has visited frequently in recent years to try to make sense of a series of events in the summer of '45, starting with the A-bomb detonation at New Mexico's Trinity site near the White Sands Missile Range.
I was drinking my chocolate milk on vacation when like a lightning showed up.
The glow of a mushroom cloud could be spotted up to 150 miles away.
He knocked me to the ground.
A month later, Jose and a playmate were riding on his father's ranch and heard another boom.
I told my friend, it must be another test from the bomb. And he says, no, it's not a bomb. Look at the smoke coming out of the ground.
It appeared to be coming from an avocado-shaped aircraft. This is an artist's rendering.
All of a sudden, 3 little, I would say, kids got up of it. They were kind of sashaying and running around in circles.
He says they resembled extraterrestrials he's since seen in the movies.
They walk like us, but they look like a fire ant standing up.
Jose and I recently met up at a favorite spot of his, the Griffith Park Observatory.
Did you have any fear of these creatures?
No, sir. They had crashed at my father's ranch, and they needed help.
Over the following 10 days, Jose says the military cleaned up the wreckage, while he and his friend watched from a nearby ridge.
I still hear him pretty good.
His buddy, Remy Baca, became a Marine, moved to Washington State, and worked in politics. Jose moved to Roland Heights and quietly raised a family.
We had lost each other.
The men were interviewed by investigative reporter and UFO researcher Paula Harris in 2012. Harris was investigating a claim by the son of World War II Army pilot William Brophy.
The pilot's son told me the last missions of his father was to fly over that area. And he said that when he flew over, that he saw 2 little Indian boys on horseback.
Harris believes those 2 boys were Jose and his friend. Though warned to stay away, they returned to their viewing ridge day after day.
We were hiding behind cactuses.
Jose says when soldiers took a break from cleanup, he and his friends entered the craft. The creatures were gone, but something else caught his eye.
There was like a little dial.
Jose yanked it out.
I took the part and hid it in my garage.
Chemical testing in 2015 by Frontier Analysis, based out of Ohio, revealed that the artifact was composed of aluminum mixed with silicon and copper. Now, that's a common metal mix found in engine parts. But the report went on to say that even though the isotopic ratios are terrestrial, an extraterrestrial source for the metals is not ruled out.
I think it's a fascinating story. And I think, that belies, phone calls we've been getting recently from people with cases that go back 50 years.
Yes.
And, to hear Jose talk about the chocolate milk, the sashaying, the fact that they look like ants, they're fairly unique observations.
Who knows? Yeah.
So go and look for more of that story. I think it's quite fascinating. God knows what the dial was. Maybe they threw that in to throw Jose off the real course.
I don't think they would have left anything behind for somebody else to stumble across and take home.
They ducked in there when they were taking a break from the heat. But
I think I think they would have taken everything straight away. They don't leave stuff like that behind.
So
they will come back for it tomorrow.
You haven't seen that story before. How did you feel about it?
No, I didn't.
About his narrative.
Yeah, I didn't. Actually, neither way. Usually I get a feeling like, yep, no, this is, like an intuitive thing. And I go, no, there's something to this. It's making the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Or it's like, no, this is total. No, I can't go there. With this one, I'm right in the middle. I'm not actually quite sure. I'll have to watch it a couple more times just to get a feel for Jose. Yeah, absolutely.
But
so I'm undecided on that one at the moment.
Yeah.
I only just saw this for the first time.
I just love it where the aged in our community all of a sudden reach a point where they go, I'm going to tell this story, and whether people like it or not. And that's the beauty about growing old. And that's what we've done. Is we've grown old together. Together here now in Jordan Springs.
Yes.
We're part of Untold Radio Network. We want you to go up there, support, share the shows. It's really important. Barnaby Jones' Paranormal Spectrum is a great program. It gets so little hits. The greatest thing about it is its diversity.
Yes.
Because you haven't got someone that is peddling one particular hypothesis or line. It doesn't matter with Barnaby what he thinks. And he's had some astounding experiences. He just gets people on and lets them tell their own perspective way of seeing this phenomenon. So does Discover Sasquatch. That's on, I think it's on intermittently. I could have got that wrong with the OC, Chris Reinhardt. That is an astounding program. I really love the Bigfoot Journal. That's Mike Lucci, Chuck, and Toby. It's the Bigfoot half hour. And it really is just slams you. The way it's produced, the quality of it, the professionalism is astounding. It's like a news episode of World News, BBC, but punchy and all about the world of Sasquatch, which has become fairly anomalous at times. And no worries there about the woo factor. One of the saddest moments we're having on Untold Radio occurs next week. It is the Sasquatch Outpost in 92 episodes. Jim Myers, who's done an astounding job there. So much has happened during that show. He lost one of his close colleagues, Scott Carpenter, who was a beautiful person. Now we have the unbelievable Sibylla.
Sibylla's on there.
She does a program called Sketching Encounters. It's already a YouTube show. She is like a forensic scientist when it comes to sketching. And her artwork is second to none. But she's an astounding person with great insight into the phenomenon. They're going off to do research, create their own program. We wish them well.
We're going to lose them.
We're going to lose them.
Very sad.
They're creating an escape room at the Sasquatch Outpost. So maybe we'll get overseas and get into that escape room and get trapped there.
Oh, no. I'll stay there. They're real quick smart.
And that's the problem with you. You've got to win, haven't you?
All the time. I tell the grandkids it's not a competition, but we're winning.
Monster Soup with David Spencer and Brian McKinney is a new show, and it's really laid back and gorgeous, and it's a great, joyous approach to investigating anomalous phenomena. We must never forget Dr. Dean Bertram, which if it wasn't for Dean, we wouldn't be here in the first place.
Look, Dean helped us so much to get out, because we were just like total neo-Luddites when it came to all this stuff. And he talks us through, absolutely, talking us through, navigating, doing all the stuff to get this show up and running. It's become second nature to us now. And it's been great. But he was a fabulous teacher, instructor in how to go about and do it.
Incredible parent.
Yes,
great researcher.
Yes, absolutely. His gorgeous daughter, Chloe.
He wrote the first dissertation, I believe, in the whole of Australia on ufology.
He did.
Other people have claimed that, but as far as I'm concerned, we'll stand up and fight for that one.
And his Shaven Mystery, documentary goes on. I think it's been won awards and whatnot.
And I think he's working on a much bigger film on Ray Palmer.
He is.
That whole time. The man who invented flying saucers, which I still think we need to get him on for a podcast and debate that heavily. But is it debatable? Is it the truth?
Well, everyone has their own perspective, of stuff.
Some people are far more knowledgeable.
You can't say,
that's why they're
you can't say you're wrong, I'm right. It's not like that, because
I could be wrong. I could be right. All right. So Talking Weird is his show. And of course the flagship show, Untold Radio AM with Doug Hijack, who we all bow to. And now instead of Alex, it's Jeff.
It's great Jeff's on, but Alex,
Jeff is
great.
What I mean?
There was definitely a chemistry between Doug and his son Alex,
Incredible
and Alex
chemistry.
Alex took it somewhere else. But anyway.
Look, Jeff is sensational. Jeff's written a book called Denial, and I think it's coming out soon. And Hanger One Publishing through Untold Radio.
What's the denial about?
Well, the denial is what you're always ranting on about. It's these extraordinary things like this worldwide flap is occurring, and now it's a bit like the Truman Show. And it's like, oh, wow, UFOs are
what
real,
else is there?
But, what's happening on Discovery tonight? Or what are we going to eat from Deliveroo?
What's on the other channel?
And people, they're literally landing on the White House lawn, which they did in 52. Not on the lawn, but over the top of it.
They were buzzing them, that's for sure.
Yeah. And
we've become so complacent about it.
Well, we've become overloaded by too much choice.
There is too much information.
It's this book.
Oh, yeah.
Future shock.
We're living it.
We're living in future shock.
We are.
And we don't care whether the information's real or not. You know what I didn't get to?
What?
We need to have a look at Christ crustacean.
Oh, yes. I was going to ask you about that. Because I actually didn't. You very quickly ran through them. So this was the
No, I didn't run through them at all. So see you later, the dead internet theory.
Yeah.
This is just created by OpenAI, right?
That's interesting.
And so many. No, it's not. This is not. This is plagiarism. This is not. Now people are interested in the algorithm.
Are we going to see these prawns at Christmas lunch? That's what I want to know about.
It's the whole.
Well, maybe they should have done a little baby Jesus in the prawns for Christmas. Wow.
Crab Christ.
It's a pity my dad's not here to see this, because he was that's wrong. See, crabs don't have. They only have 2 nippers, not 4. That's wrong.
Yeah, you got the hands
That's
wrong
the problem.
again.
Yeah,
got the
they've
hands
got
wrong
too many nippers. They've only got 2, one on either side, and then the others are legs.
Well, maybe when you're a deity of that high distinction,
you don't know how many times my dad got me in the water, and with a net, and he'd be holding one side. He'd go in the deeper end because he was taller than I was, because I was young, and I'd be on the other side, and we would drag that net across down at Doll's Point at the beach, and we'd drag the net and we'd catch the prawns in the net, and then we'd go up on the beach, and he'd have some firewood with him and some rocks and stuff, and he'd make a little set of fire. And this was at night, you see, and he'd have a pot, and we would put it on, and we would boil the water, and we'd have prawns straight out of the ocean, straight into, and we would eat them on the beach. Oh, there you go. Memories.
The good old times.
The good old days. Yeah, absolutely. I did so many weird things with my dad. Seriously. He had me out there doing the weirdest stuff.
Give us one example of the weird before we leave.
We used to make...
Talk about getting personal.
Well, he used to make me, every time he wanted to do something, and he was the one who taught me that if you want to make something, if you want to do something, all you have to do is just, and, back then this is the 70s, right, 70s and 80s, and it was like, go to the library I want to do this. Go to the library, get the research book, and bring it home and read it to me. So because I used to have to read it and then translate it to him because he couldn't read English, of course. And we did, he showed me how to repair everything. He never threw anything away. He repaired everything that needed to be repaired, and he taught me how to repair things, how to make things, how to just try it.
Give us an example of one of the weirdest things.
Not
the painting
weird,
of dead animal skulls to keep the juju
that
away.
that was the thing, he
Shrunken heads.
He was like, I want you to go and buy me a shrunken head. It's like, Dad, they don't sell shrunken heads. It's actually not allowed. Yeah, well, give me a plastic one. Give me a plastic, because it was to keep the evil eye away, because he was supposedly, people used to come to our house all the time.
Greek
people, because they had the evil eye put on them.
And what is the evil eye?
The evil eye, it's like a curse, and you don't feel well, and you.
How do you know it's been put on you?
Well, because you're not well.
Oh, okay.
Or you're not getting the jobs, or
your luck's run out.
Yeah. So instead of blaming you because you're not working at full capacity, it's somebody else has cursed you. They put the evil eye on you. So you'd come to someone like my dad, who would, take the evil eye off you. And he never showed us or told us how he did it. It was always in secret.
Wasn't he supposed to pass that off to the
Well,
first
he
born?
was, but, it all went pear-shaped at the end. Let me not go there because I'll be here all evening.
Personal.
That's right.
It's really depressing.
But it is. But I know this is an absolute fact. My sister, there was 4 girls. I'm the eldest of 4 girls, and the youngest one was a boy. Obviously, they had 4 daughters because they wanted a son. Anyway, we won't go there. Not bitter and twisted about it at all.
Yeah.
And anyway, the third daughter, Georgina, she ended up getting all these warts on her legs, on one leg. She had about 21 warts, and a real big one on her knee. Anyway, my dad was like, okay, we've got to get rid of these because they're just going, instead of going to the chemist and getting, wart off like normal people would do, it's like, I'm going to do some witchcraft.
A grimoire. All right.
It's like, so we're going to go around wherever he took her, out in the backyard, and we weren't allowed to be there. And he said, and I don't know what he did to her, but within about 2 or 3 weeks, the warts were gone, right? All gone. And he said to her, if you tell anyone what I did, he said they will come back, and they will come back double. So she was expecting 42 warts if she never told anybody, and she still won't tell us.
You don't think he ducked down the road to the chemist and got a bottle of water?
No, he didn't. No, he did not. She said he did something. She said, I can't tell you what it is because I don't want these warts to come back.
Right.
And they were gone within about 2 weeks. All the warts were gone. So I kind of saw it with my own eyes, and she swore that he didn't put any, like it wasn't a chemical out of it. She said he's whatever he did, it was like, yeah. Anyway, so I know, and I know people that used to come and then they'd go away, and then we'd get gifts of stuff because it had worked. Now I don't know if it was, suggestion like the what do you call it, the effect that when you tell
placebo effect,
if it was placebo or not, because if you believe in that stuff, then somebody tells you we're going to take you to this guy, he's going to take the evil eye off you, you're going to be fine. Well, then you're fine. I don't know if it's a matter of looking at things differently or whatever, but it used to work. And I have become a believer in that. If that's part of your culture, if that's what you grow up with, you can't discount it.
Are you a believer or a knower? I think you know. It's not a question of belief.
I kind of know, and I really do believe that the universe, whatever you put out into the universe, it comes back to you as well. And if you believe something, look, and I'm thinking the way the brain. I've been watching people and looking at people and studying people, and I'm thinking that the brain thing, it's like, I don't have to be a scientist. I can tell you the brain, it's like we are a receiver. Our brain is a receiver. That's why they can't work out what's going on.
Welcome home.
And we are tapping into something else. And, this whole thing about, this person's on the spectrum, this person's this person's that. It's like everybody is tapping into something different.
picking up a different
signal, different way of
channel
of receiving things, and it comes out in their own special way. And of course, we're not all the same. There is no normal.
And you don't.
There is no normal.
You're not going to get any of that with OpenAI.
No.
You're not.
No.
You're not going to get what your father's doing with OpenAI. No. So what we need to do is actually just do what you and I have always been doing and what everyone else out there is doing, and that is consume less.
Yes. Create more. Create more. I think creating is such an amazing, it feeds your soul. You know, if you're doing something that you really love and enjoy, then you can't get any better than that.
And when you create, like they have done here, Doug and his son and all the colleagues of Untold Radio, what they've created is community.
Absolutely.
And they've created a community of a world that has ridiculed and dismissed this subject matter. And you know what? We're not tilting at windmills. We're looking up at the sky and we're imagining.
And if we are,
well, it doesn't matter. I love you.
If we are, so what? It's, you know, I know when our program comes on, there's a whole bunch of people that come into the chat room, and it's like, even though most of them haven't eyeballed each other, it's still, they feel connected because they're interested in something and they converse about it and they listen to it, and it's like a communion. It's a coming together and feeling like you are part of something bigger than just yourself, of this single person bobbing in this huge, you know, sea. And, you know, of 8 billion people.
Yeah,
and seriously, you're not, totally insignificant, totally isolated. But when you come together in something like that, you feel like you are something, a part of something that's bigger than just you.
And affect people's lives
positively,
because life can feel very futile at times.
Yeah, it does.
And there is so much pain and unhappiness out there on a grand scale. The most of us that can afford the time to do what we're doing should not really be worried about anything. But that's enough. I love the fact,
That's
paradoxically, when I put those shots up at the start and said, let's get a little bit personal and open, we said, we don't need to do that.
No,
and then you took the lead and ran with it right over the finishing line at the end there, Aspasia. And
it's not a competition, but I won that one.
You win them all. You win them all. But you win them for all the right reasons, because your moral compass is the most pronounced of anyone I've ever come across. Well, to me it is. And it's an honor to spend time with you. And I can't believe it.
You can't not spend our time with me. I'm your wife. You're my husband.
You know what? I get a feeling at any moment news is going to come through. It's going to break. Something.
The elation in the room behind me has stopped. People were cheering and celebrating, and then it was as if a balloon would burst. A quiet permeated the room, and nobody seems to be giving any indication why.
Matt, what is it? Matt, what do you see? Just tell us what you're seeing, Matt. The count.